Hello, this is Justice Backstrom, and welcome back to another. Hello, this is Justice Backstrom, and welcome back to God, Guns, and Gaming. Today, well, let me go back in time a bit. 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I started this series, God, Guns, and Gaming, and in the very first video, I mostly Hello, this is Justice Backstrom, and welcome back to God, Guns, Game. No. Hello, this is Justice Backstrom, and welcome back to God, Guns, and Gaming. So, when I started this series 4, 5, 6 years ago, in the first video I made, I tried to awkwardly and with my limited understanding tried to explain why I didn't really believe that video game addiction was a real thing. Now, at the time, that had to do with things that were going on with my parents and them trying to restrict my access to video games. So I sort of took a biological approach and using the biological definition of addiction. But of course there are other ways of thinking about addiction, and I think it would be safe to say that there are ways that there are people who are genuinely addicted to video games, or at least have all the symptoms of addiction. And so today's video is going to be a bit different from usual in that I will be trying to I will be speaking more so to parents of someone who parents who might have a child that is addicted to video games or just spends more time playing video games than that parent might like. So I want to give some tips that I think would have worked on me as a kid. Well, not that because again, I was never really, I would say I was never really addicted to video games, and I think I knew that, and I think I turned out fine. But that's besides the point. That's a whole other thing that I don't exactly have time to get into at the moment. I just want to give some advice on how to help your kid if they are addicted to video games. So, first of all, I would encourage you to help them to develop their capacity for other forms of enjoyment. And what I mean by that is that video games provide a very easy way, a very easy, very low effort way of keeping yourself entertained, and you can spend hours playing a video game and barely notice the time's gone by. So other interests, other hobbies can be hard to get into, and you as the adult have the position where you need to train your child to enjoy those other things, and build up that sort of varied interest in different hobbies, because most of the time the kid's not going to go and do that on their own. They're going to take the easiest option, which again is playing video games. And they would need, again, the perspective of someone more experienced to say, hey, yeah, that's great, but this is also fun too, and it's important to have a balance of those interests. Step 2 would be to take a balanced the next thing I would advise is that you take a balanced approach in this. And what I mean by that, what do I mean by that? What the frick? So next I would advise that you use a balanced approach to actually, when it comes to actually limiting their gaming time. And what I mean by that is you don't necessarily immediately restrict the total amount of time, but if you restrict for example, the number of games they have, then they're going to get bored of that quicker, and they're going to have to engage in other activities. What the frick? What am I trying to say? What the actual hell? Okay, so the second thing I would say is that you need to take a balanced approach with this, and by that I mean you don't just come out with bad, rules, video games are bad for you, whatever, but you, one, like you're already doing, come alongside them with other activities that they can do. Two, you're limiting the number of games they have so that they will, one, they'll get bored of them quicker because there's fewer games, and then they'll be forced into playing, engaging in other activities. And then again, you can come alongside them with the video games as well, play a couple rounds of Mario Kart with them or whatever, so that, because basically simply restricting something is very rarely going to be an effective way of breaking someone's obsession or interest in it. And lastly, if all else fails, you come in and you set time limits, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour a day. That's up to you, of course, at what time limits you set. But some people don't want help, some people don't know they have a problem, and when you can't help them out, then you do have to restrict their activities. But again, I don't think that's the most effective way, so that's the last step when everything else is failing. And that's about the gist of what I would say to someone who's trying to help their child get less obsessed with video games. And honestly, obsessed with anything, because it's not good to be too obsessed with anything, really. But, I don't know. That's all I had to say, and maybe I'll... Anyways, that's all I had to say. So, if you agreed with that, let me know. If you disagreed, if you have something else to add, you can say that in the comments. But with that being said, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye. What the frick was that? The frick?